We'll go ahead and get started. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to Building for the Ones We've Lost. Subsection is Turning Your Story into a Startup. Today, I really just want to share with you guys my journey in becoming an entrepreneur in death tech as a first generation Latina and how I leveraged turning my story into a startup. And today, really, the biggest takeaway that I would want everybody to have is that your story is literally your superpower. It's like a credit card, it's what can open these doors for you. In honor of that, I'll start off with my story. So I'm the proud daughter of Nicaraguan immigrants, a mechanic and a housekeeper. And growing up, of course, I thought academic success was the way out of poverty. Um, my parents were very poor, but they tried their best. And so obviously when you see that as a little child, you just want to help them. And so um, I was very academic oriented. And when I was 11, I wrote a letter to myself. And in that letter, it says, "Dear future self, happy graduation." Okay, but to preface this, it was a letter to my future self, and I was not supposed to open the letter until I was 18 at graduation. So the letter says, "Happy graduation. Please tell me that you're still planning to go to the University of Texas at Austin. Remember that when you get a job on your first paycheck, to give it to your parents, to give your parents some money. Remember, don't be one of those people who wait to go to college. You can be anything you want except a slacker. I hope today you either graduate in the top 10 or 5% of the class. I want I to have the greatest future." And I goes on to say a couple more things, but it ends with, "This is the first step you're taking to being an adult, so make your family proud." So I just want to highlight that this letter, as an 11-year-old, it was really important to know how I was as a teenager. As many of us here, we're always, we want to help our family, we want to be very successful. So that's what I did. I joined clubs, I got involved in school, I was doing really well with grades, but everything changed when I was 17. My dad, he had gotten deported after 23 years of living in Texas. He got deported back to his country in Nicaragua. So that last year of his life, my parents had separated. I moved to Miami, and he would always call me, but I was, busy with extracurricular activities, or I just keep the phone call short. And I got my passport because I had plans to go visit him. But when I was 18, a few days after my birthday, it was my 18th birthday, I was out celebrating, and my dad, at 11 p.m., he calls me. He hadn't called me the whole day, so I was really mad at him. And I look at my phone, and I see him calling, and I decline it. And I see him calling again, and I decline it again. And then I see him calling a third time, and I still decline it. I was just really upset with him. So you can obviously imagine my guilt when a few days later I found out that he passed away. He was getting off a bus, and he just collapsed. And a lot of strangers were around him, and they took him to the hospital, and he ended up dying alone. And we didn't find out until the day after. So it was a very confusing time for me because I had this anger towards my dad, but then I had immense guilt because I wasn't there when he passed away. So I was devastated, and I remember just crying, and I'm looking at my phone, and I want to call him, but I can't. And so then I see that he left me voicemails on my birthday. In two of them, he's singing me happy birthday. He's singing me, what is it? In broken English, happy birthday, but las mañanitas. But it was the third one that that absolutely changed my life. So I wanted to share this voicemail with you all.
Aló, que 1 millón de ángeles, mil querubines, te cuiden hoy toda la noche, amor. Dale a tu papita y todo el mundo. Te quiero mucho. Te adoro, Estrella. Van a cambiar las cosas. Bye. Pronto, bye.
So my dad would have never imagined that voicemail would help heal my grief. Because even though I was mad at the time, I knew that he loved me until the very last day. And even just the words he said, "I hope a million angels look after you. I love you so much." He didn't know he was going to pass away. So this was a very unexpected gift. At the time, I was 18. We didn't have money to go to his funeral, but my classmates raised money so I could go back. And so it was my first time ever visiting Nicaragua. I had never been. And I just remember holding my dad's hand and thinking to myself, "I'm sorry," and apologizing to him and telling him that I loved him. And also making a vow that day that I would never put anything else above family, above friends, above my community, above people. It's very easy to obviously chase success and money and glory, but at then that lesson I learned the hard way, where none of it matters at the end of the day except the people that are around us. So that completely changed my life. I went to university. I had a full ride. And the first thing I did was well, Nicaragua was beautiful. I'm going to go find a way to study abroad. So I ended up majoring in tourism and hospitality. And in the span of 3 years, thanks to student loans, scholarships, and credit cards, I was able to go from seeing one country, Nicaragua, to seeing 40 countries. And because of that, I knew I wanted to work in the travel industry. So I pitched an internship to this random company I found online. It was a travel company. And I asked them if they wanted a full-time intern, and they said yes. So I moved to Colorado, and I met the CEO of GoAbroad.com, who was Troy. And Troy ended up having this company called Last Farewells. So I'll tell you what it is in a bit. But when he heard about the story about my dad and the voicemail, a few years later, we ended up reconnecting, and he asked me if I wanted to be his co-founder. So my story literally opened this completely unexpected opportunity into being an entrepreneur, into being a founder in an industry I never otherwise would have ever imagined. So what Troy was building was Last Farewells, which is an end-of-life planning platform where you can create your own last messages and a memorial page that is delivered after you pass away. On this platform, you can create last letters, videos, and audio messages and schedule them for future moments like birthdays, weddings, graduations, milestones. And on the memorial page, it's almost like your Facebook MySpace mix, which your last music playlist, your bucket list, your self obituary, your photo album. So at the time, again, this opportunity is presented, and I'm just thinking like, wow, this seems very in line with my own story. After my dad passed away, I was inspired to live, but at the same time, I know how meaningful that last message that he left me. How meaningful it was. So when Troy offered this opportunity, I thought about it for a bit, but at this stage, I was in my early mid-20s, and I said, you know what? I could always get a job. Might as well try this out. For the past couple of years, I have been full-time as a co-founder and CEO of Last Farewells. And some other bits about me that I mentioned already. Now I've traveled over 53 countries. So our goal with Last Farewells is to make sure that it's available in 100 plus languages worldwide. We want everybody to be able to leave no words left unspoken, because at the end of the day, people in our community, especially in Black and Brown communities, most of them will never plan for end of life because they don't think they have anything. Like my mom is still a housekeeper. She's never going to think that she has anything to leave behind. But with Last Farewells, what we're trying to do is educate people that even just your words, even a 15-second voicemail, can really impact the ones that you love, or be there to comfort the people when you comfort them when you need them most. I'm a first-generation Nicaraguan American. I'm also a content creator. Some of my content has reached millions of views and helped me get into things like People Magazine, The Today Show, just presses, and I'll get more into that personal content in a little bit. But above all, I just want to. The biggest takeaway is, how can you turn your own story into a startup? Because most of us come from similar backgrounds of, wanting to help our families, but we all have our own traumas as well. But I think sharing your personal story can, again, really be your way in. And I really specifically like to emphasize that it's like your credit card. Like, maybe a lot of you don't have financials right now, but you do have a story that's worth telling, whatever your lived experience is. And so this is literally your entry point. By using your story, it's what's going to open doors into the rest of your career. And I say that because I've been to over 100 plus networking events. The people that I tend to remember most are the people who share their story with me. Somebody could be building a clothing brand. I may forget the brand. I may forget what was special about the clothes. But if they told me that they built it because actually, this is a real story. A founder told me that she grew up with horses, and so she just remembers riding horses with her family, and her passion comes from these horses, or her passion of this new clothing brand comes from these horses. So I forgot about the entire brand, but I'll never forget the story she told me about. Just she loves horses, and now she's like mixed that into this clothing brand. It's kind of like a competitor for Ralph Lauren. And I think that's just the biggest takeaway too. Like right now, even if you feel like you have nothing, you have a story, and people will remember you, or they're going to remember the way that you made them feel. You can forget this entire presentation. You can forget Last Farewells, but you may remember that I played that last voicemail that my dad had, or I told you about it. So just by sharing my story, I've been able to win pitch competitions, 60-second pitch competitions on stage, literally thousands of dollars for my company because of a 60-second story that I shared. I've also won my first, well, not one, but I pitched using my story to get my first $40,000 check for Last Farewells as investment. I've also used my story to be featured in Instagram pitch competitions. If anybody's familiar with the Diary of a CEO, he has 4 million plus followers. In last February, he opened a pitch competition where he's like, send me a 60-second video of your company, and we're going to pick 10 to feature. So there was thousands of applicants. There was many companies that had thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of users. I didn't have that. We're still early stage, but I had a story. And so out of all those thousands, he picked my video where I was just simply talking into the camera, telling them about my story and Last Farewells. And we were one of the 10 pitch entries. So again, your story is really what's going to make people stand out. It's going to be what makes people remember you. And so what I've divided this next part of the presentations is to 3 types of stories in a way, like content. So the first that I really love is founder content. Again, didn't know what I was doing as an entrepreneur, but I was like, well, I have a story and I can tell stories. So let me share it on social media. So if you've ever seen companies, show the process of building a company, that's what I highly recommend. If you have an idea and you don't know where to start, just start posting it on social media in different ways. I'm about to share a video that kind of shows this example. At the Virgin Hotels, I'm about to pitch last farewells in the elevator. They partnered with Helping, so anybody can go in and pitch their dreams. Wish me luck. The elevator of dreams. Are you ready to pitch? Can't say I'm ready, but there's this awesome quote that says, if you keep waiting until you're ready, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life. Sometimes we just gotta do what we gotta do, you know? Oh, I'm nervous. It is. I've done many pitches, but it's moments like this that you just gotta say what comes from the heart. So let's do this. I got nervous. Wait. Honor of Father's Day weekend, I'm here to share with you the last voicemail that my dad left me before he died, which is what inspired my dreams. I hope a million angels look after you. I love you so much, Estrella. Things are gonna change and soon you'll see. Bye. Dad could have never imagined that voicemail would inspire me to co-found Last Farewells, which is an end-of-life planning platform where you can create your last letters, last videos, and last audio messages that will be delivered to your loved ones after you pass away. Something that you do just in case. For Richard Branson, Simon Squibb, I know all of us don't have our fathers in this world right now, but I know they impacted our dreams heavily. I hope that you all can support me to ensure that we can get this in 100+ languages worldwide so that no words are left unspoken by anyone, anywhere. Join me on lastfarewells.com. I truly believe that your words can be the greatest gift that you leave behind. I'm honored to have been able to tell you my dream. Okay, I did it. I think it went well. Yep. This is the reward I have after pitching my dream. They gave me a coffee on the house and I cried. Oh, this hotel is so freaking cool. I've never seen this before. This is insane. I pitched my dreams downstairs. We're gonna see what comes about it. The Virgin Hotel has been so nice. The staff is amazing. Highly recommend. Oh, I did it. Okay, so that's, I only wanted to show 30 seconds, but I don't know how to pause the video. So you saw the whole video. This is an example of founder content. So what did I do? I shared, hey, I'm gonna go pitch in this elevator where you can pitch your business. And then I show the pitch and I tell people about what Last Farewells is in the process. I have my own logo shirt to show, but I'm also, by creating this video, it also highlights other brands. For example, you saw a part of the Virgin Hotel. I told you guys about Simon Squibb or Richard Branson in those videos. So this is an example where not only are you showing people that, hey, I have a dream, but this is me going for my dream. This is me putting myself out there. It's me taking a risk. And simultaneously, I'm highlighting the experience of doing this. So now it's sharing with other people that you can also do this. This is really good because, again, like you're building an audience, you're sharing your story while keeping it entertaining in a way. And you're also sharing the opportunity that other businesses can do this as well. So I'm a big fan of founder content. There's so many brands, again, there's so much people who are selling something, but the ones who do stand out are the people who are sharing their why. What is it, and also taking you along the ride. So when you share your founder content, what you can share the wins, you can share the pivots, or share the lows as well, and then share the ask. And sometimes even just by putting out one video, for example, I put an ask out on TikTok the other day of, hey, does anybody know anybody who's terminally ill? We'd like to sponsor their bucket list experience. And we got people reaching out to us. Oh, I know this person. I know that person. So it's a great way to build your audience, but also a community of people who are willing to support you because they want to be part of the underdog story. You don't even need a product to start. I have a tech platform built out, but I didn't need to do that to start creating these videos. An example of this, the other day, I posted a video of me eating soup, and I was talking about how my dad had passed away alone in the hospital. And now, because of that, I was inspired to volunteer at hospice with people who are dying. That itself attracted hundreds of comments of people saying their stories of people that they've lost, but also just the experience of hospice itself. People didn't know it was even a thing that you could volunteer for. So it's definitely a really great way to, again, bring people along the ride. But even if you are early stage, even if you don't quit your full-time job to do this, these are videos you can already start posting. And that's the best way to kind of build an audience of people to see what people are interested in. I share my founder content across LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. I do best on Instagram and LinkedIn at the moment. I just haven't been as consistent, but that content is really what also keeps you top of mind. And that's the most important thing. Just sharing parts of the journey will make you stay on top of people's algorithms. So I've had people on LinkedIn reach out wanting to be clients or wanting to feature me in press and media. So this is a way as just one individual that you can start doing this yourself, is really just sharing the journey and sharing the dreams. I know a lot of times it's, oh, I don't want to share my dreams because what if someone else steals it? Honestly, competition it should be far out from your mind. Nobody will be able to replicate your personality or the way that you're passionate about something. Like, you are your biggest advocate for your company. So in these early stages, you just got to tell everybody, because again, nobody's going to be doing what you're doing like you are at least. Another type of example is brand content. So you showed me as I'm showing myself as the face or the spokesperson of this company. And it doesn't have to be you. It can be someone else on your team if they're more comfortable on camera. But I highly recommend you at least try. With brand content, the video is going to start playing, and then I'll go over it.
This is Nick, and we just delivered his last messages to his family members. But this also means that Nick has passed away. So now everything he created on Last Farewells, like his last messages and memorial page, have officially been delivered. This breaks our heart because Nick was only 37 years old when he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. When his family reached out to tell us the story, we didn't want to just send the link to create an account. We actually flew to Houston, Texas for a one-of-a-kind experience where we included his favorite food, music, and even got his bucket list sponsored by the NASA Space Center to see a rocket launch with his son. Most importantly, we helped him create 9 last messages. One was for his wife to open on their anniversary. Another was for his 14-year-old son's future wedding. And there's even a public last message he left behind for everyone to see on his memorial page that also has his self-obituary, last music playlist, last photo album, and so much more. After we did this, we kept in touch. He was staying strong, reacting positively to treatment, but then it just stopped working. So he made last memories with his family, like going to Italy, taking his son on that bucket list trip to the Kennedy Space Center, and his wife Marissa even threw a retirement party so they could dress up as older versions of themselves to imagine what it would have been like to grow old together. Nick died just 13 months after he was diagnosed, making him the first person to also pass away on lastfarewells.com. We created our platform so it could be easy for people to leave words behind just in case anything ever happened. So we always knew a first death and first last message delivery was coming. We just didn't know who it would be for. So now that it's Nick, it's bittersweet, but it's even more special because Nick really believed in us. The last text message I received from him quite literally said, "We want to see you succeed." Thank you, Nick, for being brave enough to create these messages that will now be here to provide comfort to your wife, son, and the rest of your family. I'll end this video with the last words you wanted everybody to hear.
I love all of you so much. Cherish life, cherish your moments. They're so important, and I'll be waiting for you guys. I'll be in the party room waiting for you. So the time comes till we meet again. Love you, and goodbye.
So this is an example of brand content. What I showed you guys in this video was not only parts of the platform, but I also brought people in. This is the first user that passed away. I'm highlighting features. I'm trying to showcase a feeling that this person has passed away, but they left a last message. Regardless of what type of tech or what type of product you want to build out in the future, there's so many ways to make it more personal. If I could have just obviously talked about the entire platform, but I really wanted to highlight a story. So back to the founder content. If you don't want to be the main subject of your content, that's totally fine. But always draw in the stories of your users, of the people that are going to benefit from it the most. So there's 3 kind of pillars I like to outline my content, at least. It's features, which are exactly what is it that you can do on the platform. And then there's feelings, like getting peace of mind or feeling comfort. And then the benefits. Now, I think I showed in the video how he I spoke in the video how he left a video for his son's future wedding. So that's an example of brand content. There's so many ways to stand out in terms of like what you're building, but I always think that stories is what's going to resonate, because people then can imagine their loved ones or see themselves in using your product or whatnot. So but I know we're running quick on time. So the third pillar I have is personal content. So I always think that, like, again, I mentioned in founder content, you are the biggest advocate for your brand, but at the end of the day, the only goal that we should have as humans is how much good can we do in this world? How generous can we be? I know life is short, so my personal goal, I guess, is to be as generous as I can. So with personal content, I like to share parts of my life because it's not Last Farewells is part of it, but it's also like intertwined into it. So I started sharing personal content, and one of the videos that went viral this past summer was me helping an older woman at a bus stop. I wasn't going to post it, but that video ended up opening so many doors for Last Farewells, because when people went to see the video, they went to my page, and on my page I had my company linked, and then people went into the company, and then people were reaching out to see if they could interview me for the company. I ended up on Telemundo, Univision, with my story on Last Farewells because of this video that brought in attention. So I'll share this video quickly.
And I saw this really old lady like walking across the street. She was so slow, and she had a little walker. I looped back around to see if I can find her and ask her if she needs a ride. Guys, I found her. Let me get my car.
Buenos días. La miré caminando. ¿Quiere que le maneje?
¿Y usted me lleva?
Sí. ¿Cómo se
Usted
llama?
me lleva de gratis. ¿Por qué?
Porque me recuerda de mi abuelita. ¿Cuántos años tiene?
9-7.
97.
7. ¿Quiera? Puede estar en mi casa.
Mire, ahora somos amigas.
¿Y usted?
Mi nombre es Estrella.
Estrella. Ah, ese bonito ese nombre.
Hi, can I please have a double stock combo?
La familia Zambrana.
No se preocupe por el dinero, es un regalo. Gratis,
Yo
gratis.
vivo muy cortada porque solo vivo de la pensión que me da el gobierno.
Sí, es difícil.
Y yo soy nicaragüense.
Los dos somos
Yo
nicaragüenses.
nací en León.
Mi papá nació en León. Wow.
No tener a nadie es muy triste.
Ya me tiene a mí como amiga, no se preocupe.
Ajá. Así, ahora vamos a ser amigas.
Sí, sí. Aunque no tengo aire en el carro, me quebró el aire.
Ajá.
Aquí estamos, mi nueva amiga,
Queda muy bien.
comiendo rico de Wendy's.
Y muy agradecida con su amistad y con su estadía. Dios nos
this
bendiga
video-
y nos hará amigas.
Amén. Ya somos amigas. Bueno, coma.
This video raised,
Estamos bien.
Ajá, sí.
after it went
Gracias a
viral,
Dios, estamos
people were
bien.
asking to donate. So it raised $22,000 for her. Her name is Lillian. So we raised $22,000. We got her house deep cleaned. We got her mariachis for her birthday recently. This was a personal content, but again, it went in line with kind of what I was doing with Last Farewells. Now I help the elderly. I volunteer at hospice, but it also kept me top of mind, and it brought in way more opportunities. It brought in press in the media, the Today Show, and people that featured this, and it brought so much more exposure to Last Farewells. So you do, like, I would highly emphasize that you share about your hobbies, your personal wins, your other interests. At the end of the day, the company is not fully you, but you are a reflection of it. So good press helps the exposure in this case for Last Farewells. And that video got specifically over 3 million views on Instagram, and for almost 1 million on TikTok. But again, what it did was really just it highlighted who I am as a founder, and then it also benefited Last Farewells too. So I do recommend, if you're comfortable with it, sharing that personal content. And then lastly, to the advice on what pitch, your pitch structure. Take a quick screenshot, but it should always include, I highly recommend that you start with your why, because again, when you draw in people with a story, they're likely to stay for the rest of it. So for me, I tell people, I'm the co-founder of Last Farewells, and I was inspired by the last voicemail my dad left me before he died. And then this is what the platform does, because sometimes when we start to try to talk features or the market opportunity, you kind of lose people. So if you can draw people in with a story or your personal why, they're likely to stay stronger. And then also find a point of relating to them. After you share your why, you say what is a problem that you're solving. Then what's the solution, and what's the traction? Meaning, like, how many users do you have, or how many social media or email newsletter people do you have, or if you don't have any of that, how big is the potential opportunity in the market? And then what's the vision? So our vision is to be in 100 plus languages worldwide. So this pitch structure, sometimes you only have 60 seconds. You always modify, but I was part of a 60-second pitch competition, and I used this structure. And I just wrote down, okay, my why, my problem, my solution. And I remembered that, and that won me $7,000. And so again, if all you took away, like when you are networking, when you are in pitch competitions, when you're asking for investment, people just do want to know, who is this founder, or who is this person with the dream? Even networking, it's very easy to be robotic. I work for this. And the most people that stand out is really like the people who are passionate in what they're doing. And so I highly recommend you just start sharing more of, like, just why you're doing something, or why you're passionate about something, or maybe even if you're not in the career that you want to be in, like, what direction are you going? And then those people eventually stay in your network. If you're posting content, you're always top of mind. And then when you are ready to have an ask, you can go that route. So those are just a bit about my tips, but overall, build from what you carry. We have such unique stories with our parents and the people that we want to help as well. So for me, Last Farewells is really important because I just know that I really want to educate a lot of Latinos, especially that just the words they maybe they don't want to create wills or estate plans, or they don't know what that is. But I just want them to know that my dad died with nothing. Like, he had holes in his shirt, literally. He was so poor, but he literally left a gift that completely changed my life, brought me into rooms with investors and celebrities and at networking events I never thought I would be in. So that one voicemail that he left behind completely changed my life. And so, yeah, I know we're at time, but if there's any more questions, please let me know. Is there a way to personalize those words? Yes, you can upload handwritten letters on our platform. I'm so sorry that you almost passed away. Yeah, so Last Farewells, I want to tell people that it's considered like life insurance. You do it just in case. And so we want people, anybody of all ages, just to create them just in case anything happens, because obviously no one expects that we might pass away, but 1 in 3 deaths are unexpected. So I'd love to stay connected. My LinkedIn is Estrella Quiros, Instagram, Last Farewells app, and Estrella Q95. I'm tripling down on content this month, y'all. I'm going to start being more consistent. And then, yeah, if you want to create a free account, it's lastfarewells.com. And also highly recommend you get your parents and grandparents on board. My grandma had left a video for my future wedding. She's still alive, but she's 93, and I don't know when I'm going to get married. So just in case, she's either there or I have this video. But thank you all for attending my session. Thanks. This was fun.